This just in.
It's time for a 49ers news update. What's up, everyone? Welcome to 49ers Cutback. And the 49ers had a busy day when it came to roster moves. They were getting some things done, signing some players, and just getting their roster where they needed to be for this last game versus the Chargers. And they got some interesting guys in with all the talk about injuries to Ray McLeod and Danny Gray. The 49ers definitely needed to add some depth to the position, and they did. And it started by adding a former second-round pick. It's Anthony Miller. He was drafted by the Chicago Bears in the second round, pick 51 overall out of Memphis. And he's had 140 catches for over 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns in his 4 seasons in the NFL. And so he's a guy that the 49ers have brought in to see what he can do. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of ability. He hasn't been able to, get anything big time done in the NFL, but the 49ers aren't looking for big time. They're looking for depth right now, and we'll see what he's able to do. He also had a little bit of punt and kickoff return duties in his past as well. So the 49ers have talked about this before. Kyle Shanahan hinted at the fact they could be bringing in players to potentially, work out in that area. So Anthony Miller is going to be joining the San Francisco 49ers in the depth at the wide receiver position. And the 49ers didn't just do that, but they also worked out former first-round pick wide receiver Corey Coleman. That was according to Tom Pelissaro. So the 49ers are making sure they're going out and potentially bringing in wide receivers to give depth to this roster for number one, to help them get through the Chargers game, but also just to see what they got, build a Rolodex. Maybe one of these guys could end up earning a way onto the practice squad. I think it's going to be very difficult with how talented these rosters are, especially the 49ers roster. But overall, good news for the 49ers, working out a couple of guys, bringing them in, and we'll see what they can do. They weren't done there because they also worked out and signed a running back in Brian Hill. And Brian Hill has been with the 49ers a little bit, some time in the practice squad, spent some time in the XFL. But in 2021, he was with the 49ers. And he's a guy that's had a lot of, time in the league. He was a 5th-round pick by the Atlanta Falcons in the 2017 draft. He's 6'1", he's 216 pounds. But he spent time in the league with the Falcons, Bengals, 49ers, Titans, Browns, and even spent time with the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL. And he had a really good year for the Battlehawks, 88 carries, 416 yards, with 24 catches for 204 yards and a touchdown. So you've got a lot of ability coming from a guy like Brian Hill, and the 49ers are going out and making deals to bring guys in for depth. They had just lost a player, so they needed to add running back depth because Jeremy McNichols went down with a hamstring. I did find it interesting that the corresponding move was releasing a defensive lineman in Lele, so they got rid of him. He was there with the 49ers for 1 week. He's on the move. But they didn't get rid of Jeremy McNichols. So potentially they're going to end up releasing Jeremy McNichols. But I think this signals that maybe the 49ers want to bring McNichols back to the practice squad. And that's why they didn't put him on IR and reach an injury designation with him, because they don't want to lose the potential of bringing him back to their roster. So I think the 49ers are making some interesting moves, but bringing in veterans that understand how to handle things instead of the undrafted free agents that the 49ers had at camp, Ronald A. Watt and Kalen Laburn. So they've officially moved on from both of those guys. They had waived Laburn. They could have brought him back, decided not to. So the 49ers had practice today with Steve Wilks talking in the press conference. That was at 12:05. Tomorrow they have practice at 11:30, and Kyle Shanahan has a press conference at 11:30. They have practice at 12:50. And then Wednesday they conclude their practice for the week with a full practice, that would be, with a 12:20 practice. And Chris Foerster's talking at 11:30 in his press conference. They have their walkthrough on Thursday, and then their preseason finale on Friday against the Chargers at 7 p.m. So 49ers, that's what their week looks like. We're almost to the end of the preseason. It's going to be decisions coming about the 49ers depth chart. You can check out I'm going to be doing a 49ers depth chart breakdown. That's going to be coming out later today. Go check that out. If you're watching this late, it's probably available now. And go check it out. I'm going to be talking about how the 49ers can kind of get creative with the roster to be able to bring as many of these guys back as they can. But I really appreciate everyone coming through and checking up this 49ers news update. I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Until then, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.